If you're a bigger guy who spends hours working and gaming at your desk, you've probably gone through a very frustrating loop. You started out in a cheap gaming chair with completely unnecessary bolsters. Let's be real, we're not racing here. From there, you might have tried a crappy, generic big and tall chair, and that seat flattened out in months. Now you're finally ready to get serious and level up your chair. The natural instinct is to look at the big names in either the gaming or office chair world. Secretlab's Titan Evo is their flagship chair that you've no doubt seen a lot of people using. But is their XL chair going to be a good fit? And now they just dropped the Atlas, pitching it as a true ergonomic office chair, designed for all-day focus. But looking closely, I start to wonder if it's just a gaming chair reskinned to look like an office chair. And then there's the Maxis, a big and tall chair that is not only ergonomic, but can also do all the things a gaming chair can do and more. According to the CDC, the average American man weighs 199.8 pounds. Unfortunately, the big office chair and gaming brands mostly ignore you. And get this, retail analytics show that over 60% of chair returns are driven entirely by dimensional mismatch, meaning people might have liked the chair but found out that they didn't fit in it. Libernovo's Omni lineup has something for just about everyone, so let's take a close look at if the Maxis will be a good fit for you or if you should check out some alternatives. Full disclosure, yes, this video is sponsored, but that doesn't change my opinion. I'm still sitting in the Omni Pro right now by choice, and I'm going to give you the honest truth, including the issues with the Maxis. So let's get into it. Most brands handle the big and tall market by taking a standard chair and just scaling it up by 10%. Travis, our website manager, pointed out a major flaw with that plan. When he sat in the Titan and the Titan XL, he could barely notice a difference in the actual seat space.
For where my back and fat sides touch, it feels not much different than the other chair.
And even if the sizing was right, gaming chairs often use incredibly rigid foam that feels like you're sitting on a park bench. Now, Secretlab tried to soften the foam on the Atlas, but unfortunately, that chair is not made for bigger people. The Maxis does have a firm seat as well, with a high-density cushion rated for up to 399 pounds. The difference is it strikes the perfect middle ground so you never bottom out. Travis has been sitting in that Maxis chair for the past few weeks, and his biggest takeaway was that it features a great level of firmness, calling it the best chair for the money he sat in. However, Travis did have a gripe about the seat. Because of its flatness, he felt like he was sliding forward too much when he reclined. This caused him to sit more upright than he wanted instead of just leaning back. Keep in mind the type of clothing you wear will impact this. This gripe was far from a deal breaker. My favorite thing about a good ergonomic chair is being able to move around and still stay supported. This is where gaming chair designs really fall apart. The Secretlab Atlas claims to be an office chair, but they kept the rigid, hard side bolsters on the backrest. It locks your shoulders into a narrow, static position all day, and it also traps your body heat. And the Titan is the exact same. The Maxis utilizes a frame-free backrest design, so there's no rigid outer border digging into your shoulder blades. This also gives larger frames plenty of room to twist and flex. Travis loved this design, noting that the backrest naturally conforms to his body and moves with him. Our Maxis has the Omni Stretch function, which is really more of a seated back stretch than a massage. But while it's a really cool feature, I'd prefer to save my battery power for the cooling fan instead. PU leather is so popular on cheap office chairs and found on most gaming chairs. It can give you some cool design options for your setup, but let's be real, sitting on it is basically like sitting on a plastic bag because it's a solid synthetic material. Textile data shows that it has up to 80% lower breathability than a regular woven fabric, so it blocks natural airflow and instead it acts as a heat insulator. The Maxis Airflow solves this problem by integrating active airflow with a quiet centrifugal fan built directly into the seat. You can see how they designed the foam pad to allow for breathability. This feature definitely works. I honestly always use just the low setting and it still cools me down. This low mode is also almost silent. On high, you can definitely hear the fan, but I wouldn't say it affects the work I'm doing at my desk. Most office chairs and even many big and tall chairs do not have the width adjustment needed for bigger guys, so you can easily feel pinched between the armrests. And don't even get me started on cheap gaming chairs. The Maxis completely opens that up by designing these arms with a massive 400 to 600 millimeter width range. This gives your lower body the room it really needs, and those arm pads are huge, maybe almost too big. Now, Travis's long-term take brings up a valid primary gripe here. The arm pads just slide a little too easily. He wishes they had a locking feature to hold them in a fixed position as he shifts his weight. This might partially be a quality control issue on his specific unit, because our Omni SE here and the Pro model I have at home do a little better job at holding their place. Still, if you want arms that lock down, put a tally mark in the win column for the Titan. I think that's the first one it's gotten today. Gaming chairs love giving you that really far back recline for gaming and I guess sleeping in your chair. I just don't really know why you need to go quite this far back, but they unfortunately often have terrible recline mechanisms. The Atlas thankfully ditched the awful center or knee tilt and went with a synchro tilt mechanism. This is where the backrest angles back at a different ratio than the seat. The Maxis also shares this style mech with a 5-position tilt limiter. One note though, Travis found that the full recline wasn't usable for him without having a footrest. He also noted that the headrest is the softest he has used to date. Now I'd say that the Maxis SE with that olefin fabric is really the S+ tier option. Compared to that Secretlab headrest, while they are soft, they just can't compete with the adjustability of the Omni. When you look at chairs like the Secretlab Atlas or the Titan, you're paying a heavy gaming tax for aesthetics and packaging that don't add to your actual comfort. With the Libernovo Maxis, you have the option to buy the level chair you want so you're not paying for the features you don't think you'll need. The SE model strips away all the electronics. The Pro tier adds in the motorized lumbar and Omni Stretch feature. And finally, the Airflow model gives you that active cooling fan built right into the seat. Just keep one final thing in mind before you buy. If you check Libernovo's Trustpilot scores, you'll see their customer service has taken a hit due to an explosion in order volume. So expect slower response times and delayed replacement shipping if you need support. If you're ready to trade the racing aesthetic for actual long-term back relief, this is the definite upgrade.